I like had said to my dad, like, the only place hiring is the Jeep dealership. And he was like, well, if you want to prove it to me, you should go sell cars. And I was like, screw you, Dad. I'll go sell cars.
Welcome to Moving Metal, Andrea. I'm so excited to have you on our episode 2. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself and what you do?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm Andrea Anderson. I work at Andrew's Cadillac, which is like a small family-owned dealership right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And I have been selling cars for over 12 years now. But I've been here for almost 10 years now. Took some time off when I had my son, but yeah, I love selling cars, and it was a very random career change in 2012, and definitely didn't come from a car family or anything like that. So it's been just a fun journey. And about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, I was like, you know what, I need to expand. And so I decided to go for it with social media, and it's been really fun just to like learn something new.
That's amazing. And obviously that's how we connected was through
Yeah.
social media and I found your account and I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I love modern day car sales. People like you that are leveraging the tools that are available to us in a whole new world, a new way of doing things. It's not old school
Hmm.
anymore. And there's so many ways we can use technology to really educate and build relationships and form partnerships and make sales.
Yeah, it's been fun because I think that I've seen a lot of like not a lot, but an evolution from when I started until now. And it was definitely not like a job that people are like, oh, wow, you sell cars. Why would you do that? So like now I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. Like it's
Yeah.
definitely evolved.
Yes. And so I'm curious, sorry, take a step back and go, what brought you to car sales?
Yeah, I was living in the mountains and had done like sales for, so I'm a registered dietitian and personal trainer. And so I'd done like high end sales in health clubs. And then we moved to the mountains, and I like had said to my dad, like, the only place hiring is the Jeep dealership. And he was like, well, if you want to prove it to me, you should go sell cars. And I was like, screw you, Dad. I'll go sell cars. And I applied. I had an interview the next day, and I like hard closed him on hiring me on the spot. And that was, yeah, I was just a ballsy 28-year-old, 27-year-old and went for it.
Good for you. I love it. I love that
Yeah.
story. And so I'm curious, we're going to just jump right in here. And in today's market, we just talked a little bit about how it's changed a lot, but how important is your online showroom when you're selling cars?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what everyone does is they, instead of coming into the dealership, they're going to look online, no matter what. So it's the first impression, and it's very important.
Yeah. And so what's the first thing you think buyers are looking at in an online showroom? So your website.
I think that they're looking at like just the quality of pictures and like showing if it shows the different features, and if it's not like too many pictures or just enough. I think that that's important because sometimes it can be overwhelming if there's like so many things.
And what do you think makes them hesitate as they're looking online?
Probably just like there's so much, or they don't know what they're looking for, or maybe it just might be confusing the way that different things are grouped on our websites and stuff. So sometimes I think that dealerships can do a better job of just like organizing the website better.
And what makes you feel confident about your online listings?
We do, I mean, we have a good job of like having the photos that get taken and stuff like that are professional, and they haven't always been. So I think that it's definitely a standard now that we use. And then I think that a lot of people will also research and find like my social media or other things, so they find that like we're a real place.
Yeah. And so what percentage do you think of your buyers are finding you on social versus just coming to you or coming to your website?
I think probably like I would say this month I have like 50-50. I would say
Really?
yeah. All of a sudden I think that like it's just I've been out there long enough. And like today, a guy that I had a scheduled appointment, like he's like, I was on Cadillac, it was confusing me. I went to YouTube and your video popped up and I realized you are in the same town as me. And so he scheduled an appointment with me. But yeah, it's just kicking off. But I think a luxury buyer is a little bit different. You know,
Yeah.
it takes time. It's a little bit of more of a process. So I've been doing videos now since April of last year, May, and so I think it's just like evolving. But I had a
Mhm.
really good clientele before that, so I
Mhm.
think I tried to get ahead of it, like
That's
try and
fantastic.
yeah.
Well, and I think it's the way, right? People are doing research for a lot of purchases online, especially big purchases like a vehicle.
Yeah, I think that going into a dealership hasn't always been the most comfortable thing for people, so they want to go online and do research and they want to see good photos and good presentation of the vehicle.
Yeah. And so how does your social media relate to your website or translate back to your dealership website?
We aren't connected at all, but like I on my socials all have our dealership website, but I really try and get people more hopefully to like DM me or like email me because
Right.
I think that sometimes like dealership websites can't always be the like they're not always the best.
Yeah, I get that. And there's restrictions. If I'm not mistaken, you have restrictions on what type of website framework you can use depending on the brand and what type of photos or where you're, getting that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And so when your customers come in, are they expecting um, what they saw online, and how is that? Is there a connection or a breakdown there at all of when they come in and see the car in person?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that like we're a great place. Like we do honest business, so we're not trying to hide things, but a lot of places maybe are. So when they see photos online and they see the vehicle in person, it is also matching. But I think that I hear stories sometimes where people feel like the website pictures were misleading. So I think that it's super important
Yeah.
to, be honest with the photos and the condition of the vehicle.
Absolutely. And that really builds trust as well. And
Hmm.
that level of expectation when they arrive, building on that trust and making sure it's authentic. And authenticity is so important. And that was actually leads right into my next question. How important do you think on authenticity is to the online experience for car buyers?
I mean, I think that that's really like anyone can buy a car anywhere, but it's like about the experience and like how comfortable you are with the person and the dealership. So I always tell people like all of the cars have the same features. I mean, for the most part, like there's really nothing that's like, oh wow, no one's doing it. Like
Yeah.
everyone is doing it. It really comes down to like how does the vehicle make you feel? How does the person you're with make you feel? Like, do you feel comfortable? Like, does it feel like the right fit? And I think that like being more authentic and like yourself and just showing more like that's been great for me because I've been able to show more of my personality there. But also I try and keep it professional, which I'm a little bit sillier, in real life. So it's fun to be able to show that side with my social media because I think that people do feel comfortable already walking in.
Yeah, they probably feel like they know you a little bit
Yeah.
when they see you face to face because you
Hmm.
do put your personality out there, which I love. I think people buy from people, right?
Yeah.
They
Totally.
don't they're connecting with you as a person. So I think that's
Yeah.
fantastic. What do you think is one thing dealers could improve immediately on their websites?
I think that sorry, my screen just went a little dark. Okay. Um, if they could show more of like videos or like just real interactions. I don't know if that's allowed or if they can, but I think that like more the social media type videos or the YouTube videos, I think that would sell the car way more than just the stock photos.
I totally agree with you, and I think that's ultimately where we're headed.
Yeah.
When you think about how much social media has evolved just in the last 10 years from like just static photos to video being so important in the last few years, I feel like that is going to impact all online businesses, especially car buying, because video really makes something like a car, especially that can move, come to life,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. I mean, you can only look at so many like shot stock photos and
Yes.
it doesn't really get you excited, but if you're inside a car like showing a video of like how an Escalade works or something like that, like people are going to definitely be more interested.
And even speaking of how it looks, but how it sounds with a
Yeah.
car, like, don't you think? Especially like
Oh yeah.
an Escalade is, it's kind of a status symbol, and for somebody
Totally.
buying it, they probably want to hear what it sounds like, especially if they're thinking about buying the V,
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
right? So do you think there's a part of that process, the from online to in person, a part of that, is there a breakdown? Is there a part there that buyers can experience a breakdown?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just like a weird process, I think, with like online leads, like where people will be online, like looking at photos. And maybe if they click a certain link, it creates this lead, and then all of a sudden dealerships start calling you, like, and they don't know why. So I think it like can cause a lot of confusion, but also it's just like they might say they're interested, but then they don't get in touch with the person. So I don't think it's the smoothest process of, just the online experience and connecting them with the dealership. So and I don't think it's necessarily the dealership's fault or the people's fault. I think it's just we all communicate differently. And, it's just there is a disconnect for sure.
When you connect with a potential buyer on your social media, do they, and they message you, do you take it uh, to a certain point in the DMs and then say, oh, we need to email or we need to meet in person?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, like, for me, I try and not be too like, I need all this information right now, like we just met. So I think I just like kind of fill it out, like, oh, what are you looking for? And like, or I might say, like, hey, if that's what you want, like, I'd love for you to email me to see if like they're serious. Like, so it's just trying to be efficient with my time and their time. I'm not going to sit in the DMs for 20 minutes back and forth. So, and not that I can't answer questions, getting on the phone is a lot easier. So, yeah, I try and just like read the situation. Just like when you meet someone on the lot, like sometimes it's like feels comfortable to right away be like, "Oh, hey, I'm Andrea, welcome in." Or sometimes it's like, "Hey, how are you guys?" Like you just kind of adapt. I
Yeah,
think that I'm not a robot, so it just really depends. So I
right.
usually try and get people on the phone like eventually. Like right now I have a deal in Texas and Alabama and New Jersey. Like, so those are the people, like, once we get to, like, out of the DMs and, like, talk on the phone, or, like, if it's a vehicle that they won't see, I always FaceTime with them because, like, I want to make sure you are who you are. And also, you get to see me. So, yeah, I try and get FaceTime once I get to that process.
That's cool. And that makes perfect sense. So when somebody's in a different state or like quite a ways from you distance wise, um, and you get to FaceTime to meet them, do you also FaceTime them when you're with the car itself?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. That's cool. I love that. And I think that just, again, makes so much sense because cars are so tactile. Like it's a moving object. Like it's different than just something static, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's like cool that like you can actually show it. Like I've done sales before where it's like an idea you're selling. Like this, we actually have something to sell. It's like great.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That makes so much sense. And is there a time that you've experienced with a buyer, the buyer feeling friction between expectation and then reality?
Yeah, I mean, I think that uh, definitely. I mean, I think that we all have our own realities and perceptions. And I think it also is like based off their past experiences. Maybe like, especially with car sales, like they might not have had a great experience. So they come in a little bit like brash or like standoffish. And, um, you know, I, I think that that's probably like one of the biggest things of sales is being able to like take yourself out of the situation, not take it personally, and like be able to try and just like figure out the solution or like help them feel more comfortable.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Andrea, thank you so much for being
Yeah.
on episode 2 of Moving Metal. And thank you everyone for joining us. Please stay tuned for next month's episode 3 and find us on social media. I've put all our social links below and I'll put Andrea's as well so you can follow Andrea.
Thank you.